It is the final new model of the detective series and the mascot of the three. It is DTT02 Sidekicky, with a kit of Time Attack, Hypercrept, Disturbance, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Illusion, which grants a stealth effect to self when charging Metaforce. Now, unlike Mystery Leader or even Wonder Bell, who have rather mixed kits, both between interruption or support-based, Sidekicky in particular will for sure be your dedicated supporter for everything that he can offer. Time Attack is a skill we have not seen too terribly often aside from one or two instances, but basically how it works is with its base damage, it will go up progressively over time the longer the battle drags out. So Sidekicky is someone that likes to resort on stalling opponents and wasting as much time as possible in order to maximize the use of Time Attack all the same, especially given that because it's a head use, he only has a certain number of uses before he runs out. Hypercrept is a support-based skill we have seen a fair number of times in the past, but simply put, what it will do is choose two random buffs, that include shoot boost, guard boost, mobile boost, and so on, and grant them to all allies and himself across the board. With this reason, you can also spam Hypercrept more than once to stack more bonuses. This especially will work very, very nicely for folks that make use of the Holy Grace-like ability, where they get extra bonuses for every positive buff in play. And then last but not least, we do also have Disturbance, which is a setup-based skill for not necessarily passive aggression, but still passive aggression all the same. Simply put, it will put a plant on the field on the enemy's side, and when any non-attacking skills are being used, this includes charging metaphors, healing skills, defense skills, support-based skills, it will cancel the action and render nothing done on that turn, which is fantastic for stalling a lot of healing-based enemies, or even shielders in high-end meta, or even EX trials, where a shielder will really try to get in your head and get in the way of you trying to cut down on the main attacker quicker to shave down more seconds of the fight all the same. Now, honestly, for his stats, he is rather squishy across the board, but he is incredibly quick and very agile, which makes him very easy to make use of all the same. With overall HP, about 3,600 for the head, about 28, almost 2,900 per arm. It's just a little bit squishy, but with him being support-based skilled, he doesn't need a whole lot of HP, to be honest. Heat and Cool across the board is honestly nice too, in that mid 600, 700 sweet spot where you expect and want to be. Legs of 3,500 armor, 872 mobility means they are absolutely fantastic for that high base mobility before anything else does kick in. But honestly, his leg stats are honestly pretty nice too, to a point. A melee resist of 1358 means he can hold his own pretty well against incoming melee attacks all the same. Shoot resist of 968 isn't too shabby, could be better, but definitely not bad either. But with an evade of almost 1200, he is definitely going to be having a pretty easy time dodging a lot of attacks or even grazing a lot of them when it comes to keeping damage relatively minimal. For these reasons, I do have to rate him a pretty solid 7.5 out of 10 as a pure set score. Even though combat is definitely not his strong suit or his focus, Sidekicky can absolutely take advantage of that with his fantastic support-based kit one way or another. Be that stopping and stalling any non-attacking incoming attacks, and absolutely spamming non-stop support boosts and support buffs all the same to keep everybody on the offensive with all the buffs necessary to keep them going. As mixed parts, on the other hand, I would definitely say I have to give him the MVP of pretty much all three of the detective types at a 9 out of 10, primarily for the fact that he, of course, does have very solid and very speedy biped legs with a heavy limit of 1, but it's primarily for the fact of Hypercrept and Disturbance. Hypercrept, of course, we have seen before, especially on melee bots such as Primity Baby, but Sidekicky in particular is the first male Metarot to include Disturbance on his kit, as an arm no less, and not as a head skill with limited uses. And it's for this reason almost exclusively that I do rate Sidekicky so high, because that skill can be so useful and so valuable, especially in high-end meta in recent, where they are using a lot of supporters, healers, or even shielders to buy even 1 or 2 turns long enough for a suicide attacker on your team to nuke them and hope and pray that they do hit the leader correctly.